Sports Professor Rick Horrow. Beyond the Scoreboard, the show that gets inside the trillion-dollar business of sports in a way that nobody else really does. And we're in the last week of the most frenetic month possible. Kudos to the Dodgers and the series. We'll cover that in a couple of minutes. NBA's heating up. We got a guy who understands what life is without LeBron James. He runs the business operations of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Len Komorowski. Real good guy. Got his work cut out for him. We've got issues relative to other sports, exactly, like the beach volleyball major commitment in South Florida. We've got other issues like NFL halfway through its season. And we've also got some other stuff like the relay company announcing a major commitment to move forward in their consumer marketing quest. They've used sports as an interesting social and philanthropic platform. But first, if you want to look at all 15 items this week, all the top stories from every single angle, and the 5 Power of Sports weekly topics, as well as the 5 tech topics at Rick Horrow, Mid-Atlantic, CSN, NBC Washington. All the websites bring you absolutely up to date on all of these issues. And while you're at it, subscribe to us on Apple Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Audio Boom. All of those places where great content comes, I promise you'll have some really unique perspective on an incredible world of sports. Well, before we can depart baseball, we got to talk a little bit about the series and what the impact is. Red Sox and Dodgers are proof of the cold reality that money does really matter in professional baseball. Sox reached the third and highest tier of luxury tax spending, $230 million in payroll this season. No other team in the league even came close. The Dodgers have spent about $1.4 billion in salaries over 3 decades to claim.
We're going to take a short break, but when we return, more Rick Horrow, the Sports Professor. Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. We pick up right where we left off.
The Dodgers have spent about $1.4 billion in salaries over 3 decades to claim the last 6 NL West crowns, but alas, not the series. And both of these clubs epitomize the current state of MLB. Smaller market teams continue to struggle without the right financial investments going forward. A small market means you just got to work harder, and you probably got to get a little lucky. MLB already looking toward next season, by the way. Sports Business Journal said the league will roll out a series of innovative programs aimed at helping players who are interested in being out there, interested in marketing themselves and making it easier for them to do so. Social media, a big area of focus in the offseason. Rob Manfred says the trick with players is that things are authentic. We put on social media through our accounts, and it may be really good, but when you add the players' input, it becomes a big issue to the fans. The league will be providing players with highlights next season and allowing them simply to grab the content and repost it in their pages. MLB still struggles with youth engagement and decreasing levels of participation. The social media push is a step in the right direction to make baseball cool again. I'll tell you what else makes baseball cool. Everybody I talked about Saturday, what they were doing late Friday night at 3:20 Eastern. It was cool to watch and be involved with the longest postseason game in Major League history. Dramatic. Let's look at the NBA. We haven't looked at them a lot, but now it's at least a moment in the partial spotlight. The Bleacher Report says that entity teams up with the Rockets' Carmelo Anthony to launch B-Real. Creative teams up with BR Content with real-life heroes with influential athletes to show that star power can be found in all of us. Synopsis Sports says the new series will be presented by Cricket Wireless and is made up of 5 short films telling the stories of inspiring young people selected by Anthony and BR. On October 19 at La Pierre Hotel in L.A., Bleacher Report announced charitable donations on behalf of the Be Real class of 2018. Zach Dobson, Alexander Buchanan, Trayshawn Willis, Jason Seaman, Brianna Daniels. Other sports stars who have contributed toward the new partnership include Candace Parker, Alvin Kamara, sports broadcaster Taylor Rooks, and Houston Rocket teammates Chris Paul and James Harden, of course. The Bulls, by the way, bring an Angry Bird's Eye View cam into their home stadium. NBA team joined forces with the Finnish company Rovio Entertainment to unveil a new perspective. According to The Drum, the recently unveiled cameras feature live footage from above the rim, positioned on top of both backboards at all Chicago Bulls home games throughout the 18-19 NBA season. Angry Birds branding will appear next to the added lenses on the LED screens in the side of each basket. Angry Bulls experiences, and by partnering with the Bulls affiliate Rovio Entertainment, continued the company's association with iconic sports and entertainment brands, the NFL, English Premier League, and on and on. The Bird's Eye View cameras are the latest addition to the Bulls' bags of tricks, as they had also recently announced Bulls Outsiders, a fan-led TV show to air on NBC Sports Chicago after regular season games. Bottom line is, until the Bulls can win again, which everybody hopes is soon, they got to focus on entertainment, and there is nothing wrong with that. Only a year left on Miami Heat's current naming rights deal with American Airlines. Dade County taking over the talks regarding a new naming partner. The deal was signed back in the 1990s. The county receives almost no revenue from the $2 million that American pays the Heat each year. Consultants hired by the county expect the value of a new naming rights deal for the arena to be worth at least triple that. And Dade County Mayor Carlos Jimenez says that he wants an extension to the deal, but the county intent on evaluating all potential options. In taking control of the situation, the county has to pay the Heat an additional $2 million annually starting in 2020 to make up for the money the team currently receives from American Airlines. Presumably, the county will make much more than that, but you're not really sure. Obviously, the arena is great. We'll just have to see how it all shakes out. Top high school basketball players are starting to get a lot more creative with their professional development plans in the wake of the NCAA scandal that tore through college basketball. Darius Bazley not attending college or playing in the NBA G League. Instead, he interns for New Balance. How about that? Bazley signed a multi-year shoe contract with the company, guaranteeing him $1 million, regardless of how his career pans out. He could be worth up to $14 million if he reaches performance incentives. Last March, he decommitted from Syracuse so that he could wait out his 1 year in the G League before declaring for the 2019 NBA draft, but those plans have changed. He's now preparing to move to Boston in early January. At the high school basketball levels, the superstars are starting to get a lot more creative with their professional basketball development plans. How about Darius Bazley? He's not going to attend college or play in the NBA G League. He interns for New Balance. He signs a multi-year shoe contract with the company, guaranteeing him $1 million regardless of how his career pans out. Could be worth up to $14 million if he reaches all performance incentives. He decommitted from Syracuse so he could wait out the 1 year in the G League before declaring for the next year's NBA draft. He's going to Boston. He's going to intern in their marketing department, digital and social teams, footwear and apparel design, and the sports laboratory. How about that? Could be an invaluable long-term experience for him and other players following in his footwear footsteps if he actually commits to do work and learn, which it sounds like he's really going to do. And finally in the NBA, as far as philanthropy is concerned, Andrew Wiggins of the Timberwolves gives back to buckets. The 23-year-old NBA player shared that he'll be donating $22 for every point he scores this season to charity. 22 because that's the number on his jersey. He announced over Instagram the money he donates will go toward supporting underprivileged children who face barriers in participating in organized sports. Timberwolves player has a history of giving back to deserving students, as the native Torontonian returned to his roots in 2016 to help renovate his child community center. Wiggins promised to donate each point this season can raise tens of thousands of dollars. As his total of 1,452 points last season, it would add up to more than 31 grand. And following the example of the charitable LeBron James, Wiggins has converted his stardom into an opportunity to reach out to those who have high barriers to entry in playing sports. Well, all of these NBA issues bring the NBA and superstardom front and center. You look at Quicken Loans Arena, you think LeBron James. Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cavs, got into a bit of a tiff when he originally left to go to Miami. Now he goes back. Now he takes his talents to L.A. What happens now with the Cavaliers without Dan Gilbert, with Dan Gilbert, but without LeBron James? Firing Tyronn Lue, but Len Komorowski, the chief executive officer of the Cavaliers and Quicken Loans Arena, joined the Cavaliers in 2003 as president. He restructured and transformed how they approached business, the community, and the like. Known him for a long time. He was with the Eagles. He was with the Timberwolves. He went to Duquesne. He is a man of many talents, and now his talent is how to make sure that winning is important, but is not the only thing. Len Komorowski.
In the boardroom beyond the scoreboard, Rick Horrow with one of the rising superstars, but he's already risen. He's risen in a number of places. He's risen in Philadelphia, and now he continues to rise in Cleveland. Len Komorowski, CEO of the Cleveland Cavaliers. How's that for an intro?
Oh, hey, Rick. Always great to talk to you. And
we're going to take a short break, but when we return, more Rick Horrow, the sports professor. Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. We pick up right where we left off.
He's risen in a number of places. He's risen in Philadelphia, and now he continues to rise in Cleveland. Len Komorowski, CEO of the Cleveland Cavaliers. How's that for an intro?
Oh, hey, Rick. Always great to talk to you, and, look forward to chatting here.
Well, so a little bit of elevator speech on your career. You've certainly been diverse. You're one of those few guys, positive in the industry, that has used training in another sport to solidify your position in this sport, an Eagles guy, other things before that. Talk a little bit about your career and how you ended up in Cleveland.
Well, I would say, first of all, I've been a lifer in sports and got the bug early. Back to my native Pittsburgh, Duquesne University, started off with, you remember Edward J. DeBartolo Sr.? And he had the Pittsburgh Penguins and an indoor soccer team called the Spirit, and started off there at the old Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, which was a phenomenal place to be because he was in everything, as you look at it, and all the different sports, including the 49ers and the Pittsburgh Maulers, the USFL, and more, and operating the arena. But ultimately worked for the Miller Brewing Company sports marketing arm, which gave me a great entree into a number of different sports and working on the other side of the fence in terms of maximizing sponsorship deals and leveraging it to move product. And then part of the startup of the Minnesota Timberwolves, working with some terrific friends in Tim Lewicki and John Thomas in the industry, which we had a great start there. And then really from there, I guess the next significant move was being part of the Philadelphia Eagles, where, playing a leadership role on the business side, and we had the great opportunity to build the business team. We had one of the worst venue situations in sports and Veterans Stadium, and no practice facility to speak of. And then out of that came the NovaCare Complex and Lincoln Financial Field, and a lot of great things on the field as well. And then, I guess, as is the case, I like to go somewhere where there's a lot of opportunity to go nowhere but up. And At that time, the Cavaliers had the worst record in the league, had last in revenue, last in attendance. So we had nowhere to go but up, and made the move over with the Cavs, and we've just had a phenomenal run. We've got a great owner in Dan Gilbert who enables us to reach for the stars. We've been one of the top revenue teams in our league. Have been fortunate enough to have been having a great run on the floor, and now in the middle of transforming our arena with a huge renovation that will keep it state-of-the-art competitive. While we're also in a number of different sports we have a American Hockey League team, we have a G League franchise as well, and then we're also partners in the ticketing platform Access along with AEG and TPG. And also have or in the esports world with our 2K franchise, NBA 2K franchise, and partners with the League 11 Legends franchise and group 100 Thieves, which has also been a terrific experience too. So we've been very blessed, moving forward in a really positive direction and continue to grow. And with an owner like Dan, you never know what's next. I mean, right now we're working in partnership with the Fords and also with the Pistons relative to a potential MLS franchise for Detroit as well.
So it doesn't take much for people who understand the business of sports on this show to realize your background is about as diverse as it gets. You hear that Glenn cuts across a number of sports, but a number of disciplines, whether it's management, sales, corporate side, football, basketball, obviously now MLS opportunities as well. What do you think is the sustaining principle or principles that cut across all of these experiences and opportunities?
Well, I would say, and I get that question often, and there's so much more similarities than there are differences. Certainly on the field or on the ice or on the court, there's the nuances and the substantive differences as far as play and the league rules and the collective bargaining agreements. But as it relates to the business of sports, about, the fan experience, which thankfully has become paramount in our industry, and so there's a laser focus on creating unbelievable experiences, which is the way it should have always been. And as we know, and Rick, it wasn't too long ago where it was all about winning, and unfortunately, we're not all WWE where you can say, hey, we're going to win every game, but half the teams have to win, half to lose, and you try to create a sustainable platform there as well. But we can control creating amazing experiences, and so you've seen just a dramatic transformation in sports. You've seen a dramatic transformation in venues. In fact, that's what the Quicken Loans Arena transformation is all about, is creating incredible public spaces and great experiences throughout the building, with a building that's been functional. We've been fortunate to be 11th in terms of live entertainment activity in the U.S. via Pollstar and 32nd worldwide. But, we've been more functional than I would say offering a premium engagement experience. So that's been huge. And then certainly from a sales and marketing, branding, all those components, they all apply. All those factors are across the board. The digital space has exploded across the board. Each league has its own nuances. I think we're fortunate to be part of the NBA, which is truly a global league. When you look at the NBA and I would say the Premier League are probably the two most global leagues in the world right now in terms of their reach and popularity on a strong basis throughout the globe. And that's probably an X factor for our league that's been just amazing to watch and be part of.
One of the things that Gillian Zucker and Peter Fagan and all of the people that we've interviewed who have the business responsibilities of NBA teams have been consistent with is that the partners in your organization day to day are not necessarily only your ownership partners, but the other partners around the league. As you said, you are one partner in a joint venture that basically is global. And are you, I guess I really know the answer to this question, but you're far more compatible and synergistic with your other teams in the NBA than you are competitive on the court. On the court, obviously, you want to beat the heck out of each other, but best practices and sharing of issues and commonalities. Talk about that for a minute.
Well, I would say this, first of all, and having been, I've whether it be interning in baseball, hockey with the Penguins, football with the Eagles, obviously with the Cavs, even exposure now with MLS, and these are all great leagues as you go across the board. But there is the NBA, in terms of the focus on the business of sports and their team business operations group, which I know you're well familiar with, is truly an X factor. I mean, the investment by our league to work with teams to become, basically like a McKinsey of sorts, working with or across the teams, exchange of best practices, what's innovation that's applying in any industry that can be applied to the teams, visibility of information and data, readily accessible to all the teams. So like you said, there is so much collaboration going on throughout the entirety of our league on what's the best way to build the business, because ultimately, as you know, when you look at it from a ownership end too, asset value is a key component, and you're only as strong as a league as your weakest link. And the amazing part about it is now we have incredible businesses across the board in the NBA, and I credit that largely to the Teambo Group in the NBA and how that group has continued to evolve, and now is in every aspect of our business, including now on the arena operations side. So we've partnered with Disney with a program called Elevate to elevate the arena experience as a whole, with a best-in-class experiential operator, and apply those principles to the operation of our arenas. So it's gone beyond just, ticket sales and corporate sales and game presentation and marketing, but now into a lot of the fundamental aspects of the business that go into the operational side of the house as well. So that's been just a hallmark of the league, where in, other leagues, there isn't that robust resource to assist the teams, nor is there as much, I would almost say, visibility of information. So we know what our partners are doing, and they know conversely with that, and it really aids in helping to create visibility about how you can improve your game, and ultimately which teams are doing it well that we can drill down further with and apply those principles, practices, and successes to what we're doing.
You're tired of answering LeBron James questions, but I'm going to pose it in a different context, because I bet you I know where you're going to go with this one. And it was the same kind of comments we had from Mickey Harrison years ago when LeBron left and went to you guys again. You're much stronger on the business side than you were a few years ago.
We're going to take a short break, but when we return, more Rick Horrow, the sports professor. Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow, the sports professor. We're going to rewind our featured interview, reset the show a little bit, and pick up from there. Here's Rick Horrow.
side. So we've partnered with Disney with a program called Elevate to elevate the arena experience as a whole, with a best-in-class experiential operator, and apply those principles to the operation of our arenas. So it's gone beyond just, ticket sales and corporate sales and game presentation and marketing, but now into a lot of the fundamental aspects of the business that go into the operational side of the house as well. So that's been just a hallmark of the league, wherein, other leagues, there isn't that robust resource to assist the teams, nor is there as much, I would almost say, visibility of information. So we know what our partners are doing, and they know conversely with that, and it really aids in helping to create visibility about how you can improve your game, and ultimately which teams are doing it well that we can drill down further with and apply those principles, practices, and successes to what we're doing.
You're tired of answering LeBron James questions, but I'm going to pose it in a different context because I bet you I know where you're going to go with this one. And it was the same kind of comments we had from Mickey Harrison years ago when LeBron left and went to you guys again. You're much stronger on the business side than you were a few years ago. I assume the LeBron factor kind of helped get you there, but just like Tiger Woods in golf, I assume that you're better now able to go through the valleys and build your team again on the court, understanding you have your business metrics down. Talk a bit about that.
Well, I would say this. First of all, we were incredibly blessed to have the best player in the world, with LeBron, and not only that, I think the other part of it too, which is even sustained beyond here, is his continued impact in the community, what he's doing in Akron, and which we know will just continue to happen and live on as well. We've had just an amazing run, especially these past 4 years. Just been incredible in every facet of what we do. And as you said, Rick, I think we're embracing this next stage in our whole process here. We've got a team with Kobe Altman, our GM, has assembled even over looking at last year, the number of key players that have come on board, whether it be with the trades, with Larry Nance Jr. and Jordan Clarkson and Rodney Hood with that front, to Jetty Osman, and then also looking at Kevin Love extending with the team. So we feel, and then obviously an exciting young rookie in Colin Sexton, and Ty Lue, I know, is excited about the opportunity to continue to mold this group. And as you said, from a business end, I think the part of it that dovetails with that nicely as well as our city. Cleveland is going through an amazing renaissance right now. You've seen this trend with urban areas across the country, but in the Midwest, where these industrial heritage cities like Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Detroit have just reinvented themselves and are now on fire. And we're seeing that amazing uplift in our downtown, and certainly that dovetails with that we have the transformation of our arena, which is generated a lot of excitement about what's next, as that process is going to continue through October of 2019 before we're finally done with it. But right now there's a dramatic amount of construction and work going on in our arena that has shut the building down this summer and will for next summer as well. So we're continuing to move forward, and and really excited when you look at what's going on not only with the building but with continued efforts on the floor.
Final question, Len Komorowski. Where is the NBA in general and the Cavaliers specifically 10 years from now?
Well, I would say this. The NBA, we have amazing leadership with Adam Silver. Adam is, I would call us truly an enlightened mind. And when you look at it, just as it relates to any number of matters in sports right now, Adam has played a leadership role with our ownership, with our league as a whole, in positioning our league to be at the forefront of innovation in terms of what's next within the industry. And the thing that I would say right now, which is just absolutely remarkable, is the explosion of international growth of our sport, of our league, has just been mind-boggling. And the great part about it is now it's exponential as far as growth. When you have 300 million people in China playing basketball, and our league is playing more of a leadership role, opening NBA academies in countries all over the world to help to bring and grow the talent base that's out there, because right now over 20% of our players are international, but even help build on that. So we've truly become much more of a global league. Credit to David Stern, really pushing our league in that direction. It's really paid dividends. And, the popularity of basketball, we're seeing a league that realized double-digit, it has realized ratings growth on a sustained basis and popularity growth. Digital numbers are through the roof. And I just think our league is positioned, and you've seen this now in asset values as well, and transactions, is positioned to continue to evolve and grow on a significant basis. We're fortunate to have tailwinds at this point with everything going on within our league, and I think the game is very accessible to just about anyone to play, and I think that we're going to continue to see that evolution happen both domestically and internationally. And you have basically basketball and soccer are the two worldwide sports. And the thing about it is the NBA is undisputedly the number one league in the world as it relates to that. Even the Premier League is a phenomenal league, but you have, League One, La Liga, the Bundesliga. You have some great leagues there as well. Where in the case of the NBA, the NBA is the worldwide league and brand for basketball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the guy talks about tailwind, but don't forget the tailwind created by top-flight executives like Len Komorowski. Rick Horrow, speak with you soon.
We can tell Len Komorowski gives you a different perspective. He has to. He's got a very successful organization that has had the basketball heart kind of ripped out from it. And the bottom line is he survives and he thrives like any really, really good baseball, basketball, hockey, football executive. Good luck to the Cavaliers. Len Komorowski, a really good guy. Let's shift to the NFL. Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium working to finalize most of its Super Bowl details. Atlanta Journal-Constitution says that the Super Bowl on February 3 will have ultra-cheap concession prices compared to past events. Hot dogs $2, soft drinks and popcorn refillable, and stadium officials note they stipulated in the Super Bowl deal the fan prices will not increase. All the pregame stuff, all of the other stuff, it's going to be a big deal. Fans will love to see the cheap food and beer prices. Good for Arthur Blank and good for the Super Bowl in Atlanta. L.A., second largest city in the U.S., but it still might not be able to have two NFL franchises. John Wall Street says team owners from around the league took a chance to voice their concern regarding the Chargers' long-term visibility in L.A. at the recent league meetings. The biggest concern remains the team's fan base. The empty seats at StubHub Arena and MLS Stadium. Many fear the situation becomes even bigger in 2020 with the new stadium. 25,370 fans come to each game, many rooting for the visiting team. Not helping is that the Chargers franchise value continued to grow from $1.5 billion in 2015 to $2.2 billion in 18, though they're winning now, which may make a difference. The bottom line is they're sharing a facility in the future with the team that's 8-0 halfway through the season, and obviously see how it all shakes out. Stadium-wise, despite pulling out in his bid to buy Wembley, Shad Khan has done an incredible job elevating the Jaguars' profile across the Atlantic. They just completed their annual game in London, going up against the Eagles on Sunday, come to call the city their second home. Khan pointed out that at one point the club ranked 31 out of 32 in fan recognition outside the U.S., but the Jags ranked much lower than that on that list. The number of people telling me that our ticket, other than Wimbledon, was the most sought-after ticket this year in London, hosting an annual game overseas and foregoing one of the team's 8 designated home games at their stadium might seem like a poor financial move, but in doing so, the team's been able to boost local revenue, increase sponsorship value, and negate some of the financial challenges associated with being in one of the league's smallest markets. Good for the Jaguars and good for the NFL. Other sports, other issues. Let's take a look at some of the bigger issues that are boardroom related. First of all, the beach volleyball majors. They scooped an international prize. The company's continued excellence in organizing world-class beach volleyball events, recognized by the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, awarded them the coveted Salute to Business International Business Award. Every year, the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce distinguishes businesses that excel in their fields and make strong, lasting impacts on the community, one which the panel believes the majors have committed. Very proud the hard work and enthusiasm in bringing the highest level of international beach volleyball to the U.S. has been acknowledged in this way, says Hannes Jagerhofer, the CEO of the organization. The 2019 event, which will run February 5 through 10, will be the fourth time a major series tournament will be held at the South Florida venue since the 2015 World Tour Finals. Good for that event. And then using sports marketing from a perspective that may go even further than some people might have thought. One other niche issue, Group 1001 unveiled Relay, a revolutionary financial product that rewards goal-oriented consumers with an incredible cash back on everyday expenses. Relay's bold new offering couples an immediate annuity issued by Guggenheim Life in Annuity with a prepaid debit card offering cash back rewards and eliminates typical restrictions. Relay, born out of a consumer need to make every dollar count and the ensuing frustration with yields offered by traditional savings products and the restrictions typical to cashback programs, says Andres Barragan, the Chief Experience Officer of Group 1001. Dan Tauris, the CEO of Group 1001, said the reward...
We're going to take a short break, but when we return, more Rick Horrow, the sports professor. Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. We pick up right where we left off.
Program is really important because the product exemplifies our commitment to providing technology-led innovation and the finest services to a widest set of consumers. The Relay issue is now available in Illinois, Indiana, Massachusetts, and New Jersey, with service expanding to Florida and Texas on November 1, and California and other states soon thereafter. Group 1001 and Relay are already embedded in the sports world through their title sponsorship of the Indy Women in Tech LPGA event and the IndyCar support of Andretti Autosport and driver Zach Veach. Finally, here is a sport that's really interesting, really important. Desert Champions, in conjunction with the U.S. Pickleball Association has announced a cash prize of $75,000 for the Open and Senior Open of the 2018 Margaritaville USA Pickleball National Championship, Indian Wells, November 3 through 11. Equal prize money will be awarded to athletes for all doubles, mixed doubles, and singles medal winners for this year's event. This year's cash purse represents the largest ever distributed to the sport of pickleball. The venue moved to Indian Wells Tennis Garden of pickleball and showcase the opportunities for long-term strategy to elevate the sport. The entire experience is a giant step forward, and the event expected to draw more than 2,200 participants from across the country and will feature an array of daily live entertainment, food, concessions, and exciting pickleball action. We covered all on Beyond the Scoreboard. We want to thank Dan Martin for putting this together with Tanner Simpkins. We'd like to thank all of the participants who have finished October with a bang. Kudos to the Red Sox and everybody else. We'd also like to thank you guys for watching and listening, and join us next week when we go Beyond the Scoreboard.